Tonight. Come on, Vinny. Yeah! Run away, Murray! Gibson swings and a fly ball to deep right field. This is going to be a home run. Unbelievable! A home run for...
Welcome to the Sanders Sports Show. And now here is your host, Dave Sanders.
Welcome into the Sanders Sports Show. Today, I am your host, David Sanders. On this Tuesday, April 30th, thank you for making this show a part of your day, however you're listening to it, whether it be here live on Spreaker.com or in Facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show, or if you're listening to it later on iTunes, some other way, whichever way you choose, thank you for doing so. Well, a lot to talk about today. Seriously, there's a lot going on in the sports world right now. We had the draft last week. A lot of that was probably one of the most unpredictable drafts I've ever seen in my life. By far, it was actually the most unpredictable. We'll get to that here in a little bit. NHL Playoffs starting here tonight. NBA playoffs in full swing. A couple sweeps, a couple series already over. We'll get to at least one of those. You know we're going to talk about the Lakers. Speaking of the draft last week, Jets making a very questionable move. A move that was expected, but still questionable, if that makes sense. We'll get to that here in a minute, too. I was going to start off with Jason Collins, but I'm... If you live up here in Seattle and you listen to KJR and listen to Dave Softy Mahler, he's actually one of my favorites I listen to up here. I feel pretty much the way he felt yesterday. We'll get to Jason Collins and that story in a minute because I have a lot to talk about on that subject. But for those that haven't heard, sadly, the NBA Board of Governors voted to recommend to deny the request to move the Sacramento Kings to Seattle yesterday, 7-0. Initially, it was reported as 12-0, but it wasn't the finance committee. It was only the relocation committee. That's only 7 votes. The final vote is expected to be on May 13th, where they're also expected to vote the same. After all this, everything we've heard since earlier this year about the return of the NBA to Seattle, all of our hopes getting up, everything that we felt for the past 5 years toward the NBA was magically gone. People were excited. They had, some 40, 50,000 people saying they would buy tickets? Gone. Just like that. I mean, there's really no hope anymore. I mean, there's no chance that the Sacramento Kings will leave Sacramento now. Reportedly, the NBA asked the Sacramento group to drop a 20% deposit on the new arena, basically everything that's going to be new in Sacramento. My question is, what happened? I mean, we pretty much had this team wrapped up. This is pretty much a done deal. There's a lot up in the air right now. A lot. There was an arena to be built right next to Safeco Field in 2 years. There's a $30 million non-refundable deposit that the Hanson Balmer Group put down with the Maloofs, expecting to get a sale, to get the team. There's also the fact that who is the NBA to tell an owner of a team who to sell and who to not sell to? Because the sale was basically riding on the ability to move the team to Seattle. Without that ability, there's no sale anymore. There's no reason to buy the team for Hanson and Balmer. It doesn't make sense for them to do that. Why would they buy a team that they want to move? They can't move it, so they're stuck in Sacramento for the foreseeable future. A lot of other teams came up yesterday. Memphis, Milwaukee, Charlotte, as possible teams that could relocate to Seattle. But it seems that Stern, at least until he's gone from the commissioner's seat, it seems that Stern doesn't want to relocate anymore. Okay, well, fine, don't relocate. We can add 2 more teams. You can't do that. That means more sharing of the revenue for other teams. If they went to expansion, they could actually get 2 more teams in, actually align the divisions the way they're supposed to be, which means get Memphis out of the Western Conference, put them where they belong in the East, put Seattle and let's say Kansas City, put them in. Hell, even try Vancouver again. I know a lot of people were talking about Vegas. Vegas will never have a team, and here's why. Gambling restrictions. I live down in a little town called Bullhead City, Arizona. Across the river was Laughlin, Nevada. Ton of casinos there. It's basically Little Vegas. And by Little Vegas, I mean there's 11 casinos there. That's pretty much the town. And then there's a few apartments and homes out in the actual city. But the casinos are all along the Colorado River. Beautiful place. Jacksonville Jaguars cannot be bet on in one of those casinos because the person who owns the Golden Nugget also owns, or the company owns, a stake in the Jacksonville Jaguars. So they are not allowed to vote. Or they're not allowed to bet on those games. Can you imagine if there was a professional sports team in Vegas? You wouldn't be able to bet that game ever. Oh yeah, Vegas is playing Miami. Miami's actually the underdog here. Not that'll ever happen, but just go with me. Can't bet it. You will never see a professional sports team in Las Vegas. The closest we have was the XFL, the Las Vegas Outlaws. That's the closest you will see a professional anything going into Vegas. I'm just saying, you can expand. There's plenty of cities out there. There's Anaheim, there's San Jose. There's a ton of cities on the West that could house a team. But yet, they won't. Because they don't want to share that revenue with 2 more teams. There's plenty of talent out there. Can you imagine how much more talent will actually get drafted and not go off to do something else? Yesterday was a dark day for the city of Seattle, the Emerald City. When that news came across, when I saw Yahoo Sports writer Andrew Wojnarowski tweet that yesterday, felt like I got punched in the gut. Took a swig of Jaeger, like I said I was going to. Sat there listening to Softy and listening to all the diehard fans up here calling in, venting, which they have every right to do. At this point, there's no reason to deny the Sonics fans from venting, because there's the carrot was dangled. We are almost at the carrot. We almost got there. And then the NBA pulls the carrot and laughs at us. That's what it feels like to me. Could this be the last chance that we get for NBA in Seattle? It very well could be. And not because the NBA won't try, it's because the fans will be tired of it. We had our team ripped from us 5 years ago. Sent packing to Oklahoma City. We had the same type of fan support, same everything. The only thing we didn't have was an owner that cared. Yeah, the Maloofs, they're trying to sell. They're not really trying to move. They're trying to sell. They don't care. I'm sure if the Sacramento group will buy it from them, they'll take the money. I don't think it's about that with the Maloofs. I just don't. It's just depressing. It's disheartening. And then to see that team that could be the Seattle Sonics still, to see what happened to them last night on this day that happened yesterday, to see Serge Ibaka miss a last-second layup that would tie the game, to see that, put a smile on so many people's faces up here in the Pacific Northwest because they lost. It was like the basketball gods were shining down on them and saying, hey, you're not going to win tonight. Look at what just happened to your former home. You ain't winning tonight. I would love it if the Rockets came back and won 4-3. It won't happen, but I would love it. As of right now, like I said, Sonic's not coming back. Shame. It is a shame. But we got to move on. We got to push through. Speaking of moving on, the other big story in the NBA yesterday, well, the bigger story elsewhere in the country besides the Pacific Northwest, is a story that shouldn't be a story at all. And before I get anybody in a tiffy out there, I'm not saying that in a bad way. I'm not saying that in a bad way at all. I'm not saying that he shouldn't come out and announce this. I'm not saying that he's wrong for coming out and announcing this. Actually, I feel the opposite, that he's right in doing so. But this is 2013. This is the 21st century where acceptance and tolerance is at an all-time high for people's lifestyles. Why is it such a big deal that Jason Collins came out? Became the first professional active player of any sport, football, basketball, baseball, hockey. Why is it such a big deal that he came out? Why is it such a big story? For all we know, every team could have had someone who lived that lifestyle on their team without them knowing it. There's really nothing wrong. And I've seen so many arguments. I'm in a couple of Facebook groups. I've seen so many arguments. I've seen so much. To me, I want to choose my words wisely here, because to me it's a lot of things. I came up with a word a few years ago that really explains it, called dumbassery. The art of being a dumbass. And that's how I feel toward a lot of the comments. But bigotry, intolerance, hell, I'll go one step farther. I'll say hypocrite on some people. Yeah, I'm going to say hypocrite on some people. And I don't care the flack I get for this. This is the way that I see it. And this is the way that it is. Fundamentally, when you get down to the fundamentals, take out everything else. Take out color. Take out orientation. Take out ethnicity. Take out everything at the basic fundamentals of this. It's the same fight that not only the African American community has had to fight, Jewish had to fight in Europe. This is the same fight that as humans, many races, many ethnicities, many orientations have had to fight the same battle. Fundamentally. You cannot argue with me about that. There is no way you can argue against that. Fundamentally, same thing. These people want to live their lives. They want the same rights as every other American out here. Why is that wrong? Why is that a problem? I don't want to turn this into a religious debate because I know there's people out there that will, and I know what they'll say. Because I've seen it all over the last 24 hours. I still have no idea where in the Bible it says that homosexuality is a sin. I've never, ever seen that in there. It's been a while since I've read it all the way through. I might have forgotten it. If someone would like to enlighten me on that verse and actually show me the verse, not just their interpretation of it, show me the actual verse where it says word for word, homosexuality is a sin punishable by God. Unless someone can show that to me, you can tell me any verse you want and interpret it the way that you want. It won't be homosexuality is a sin punishable by God. Now, unless you show me those exact words, there's no argument against this. There's nothing wrong. What's wrong with people being happy? What's wrong with people being themselves? Because that's basically what we're saying to these people. We're saying, yeah, you can be cool. It's cool that you're gay and all, but oh, you're Your loved one's in the hospital? Can't go see him. Oh, you want benefits? You want to be on your husband's benefits? Yeah, you can't do that. Oh, you want to be married? Well, yeah, there's a few states over there that want to do that, but we're from the South. We're from this start. We think this way. We do this. We do that. Like I said, I can go on a whole other tangent on this. I'll get back to Jason Collins here because I'm going to get in trouble if I don't. I will. Because that could be a whole other road. That could be a whole other podcast on its own. Seriously, it could be. I might just do that one of these days too. Not on this show, but I might do another podcast one of these days that focuses on that. Just so you know, I am not gay. I am married to a woman. Have 2 kids. One's not mine. One's mine. I have a lot of friends that are gay, and there's nothing wrong with it. They're just like everybody else. Yeah, they are portrayed in the media as flamboyant and just out there. Yeah, there are some that are like that, and there are some that are like that maybe one day a year because they go out and do the pride parades. That's fine. 95%, I'll go 95% of them, just like you and me. You wouldn't even be able to tell, and that's why I think we've seen gay players in probably every league, but not known it. Because, just like you and me, no one knew Jason Collins was. Did it affect his gameplay? Did it affect how people played against him? He knew he was. He had to hide it, but he knew he was. Did that affect the way that he played? No. He played the best to his ability. Granted, Jason Collins, numbers don't lie. Easily not the best player in the league. I will say that. And that has nothing to do with his sexuality. That goes to his skills, his playing time. He doesn't get much playing time. He's basically a situational defender, from what I've seen of Jason Collins. Nothing wrong with that. The league needs those kind of players. They need someone to get in there, grab a couple boards while their big man rests. That's nothing wrong with that. You got to remember, Jason Collins is in the NBA, the best league in the world. And we're sitting here judging him from our couches, from our beds, from our desks. Judging him not on his play, but about who he is, in some people's case. Chris Broussard, yesterday, comments weren't needed. You can admire him all you want. You can admire Chris Broussard for his courage to stand up and say what's right. Who says that's right? Who says it's wrong? Really? I'll flip the coin on it. Who says it's wrong? Who says it's right? Yeah, it's the way he feels. That's fine. But to come out there and actually sound like a preacher on a sports show, that to me screams ignorance to me. I have no problem with him saying it. He has every right to, just as everybody in this country has a right to say how they feel. That's the beauty of the First Amendment, freedom of speech. But if you're going to speak, be prepared for a backlash. I'm prepared for a backlash. If I get backlash for this segment, I'm ready for it. Bring it on. Like I said, unless you show me those words out of the Bible, show me which verse it is, I'll go look up the verse too. Tell me the verse, I will go look it up. But if you show that to me, I will do a rebuttal next week on the show and denounce it. But until then, no problems. Seriously, there's no problems with people wanting to be happy and people wanting to be themselves. Jason Collins did something that has been talked about very much so, actually, over the last few months. Reports surfaced, I believe it was about 4 or 5 weeks ago, that 4 NFL players were considering coming out together. I've seen nothing but derogatory, nothing but bigotry, nothing but hate about if that happens. But we don't even know who they are yet. I asked this question. This will be the question of the day. I'm talking Kobe Bryant, LeBron James, talking Peyton Manning, Tom Brady. I'm talking big names, huge superstar status names. If you grew up idolizing someone, or if you became a fan of someone in the NBA, anybody, and you found out they were gay while they were still active, how would you feel? Find me on the Facebook page, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Leave your comments here on the Spreaker.com webpage. Also, you can find me on Twitter at Sand Sports Show. Leave me a message. Let me know what you think. I will get back to everybody. I have no problem getting back to people. If your favorite player announced that he was gay while he was still playing, would that change your view on him? That's all I'll say about the J.C. Collins segment. Very proud of him. I'm very proud that he came out and did this, because this could pave the way for those that are hiding and that are hiding their true selves. And that's the biggest atrocity out of this, is that people have to hide who they are. We should be free to be who we are. That's the way I feel. I'm not afraid to say who I am. No one else should be either. Gonna take a quick break. When we come back, we'll talk a little draft, and we'll talk some Jets football. Oh, where are they going wrong? It's up next here on the Sanders Sports Show here on Spreaker.com.
I don't know where I'm going, but I sure know where I've been. Hanging on the promises and the songs of yesterday, and I've made up my mind. I ain't wasting no more time. Here I go again.
Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show. I'm your host, David Sanders. Thank you for making the show a part of your day. Very fitting song right there, I think, for the next segment. And we'll get to that here in a minute. Of course, unless you lived under a rock, the NFL draft happened last Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 7 rounds. A lot, and I mean a lot of surprises, at least to me. Some not so surprising moves. Let me just put it this way. I tried to pick the first round of the draft. I think I got 2 right. And that's, I think, is an accomplishment. I didn't get the actual number pick right, but I got who they were going to. For example, I picked Tebow Austin going to St. Louis. He just didn't go number 16, went number 8. Didn't have E.J. Manuel going to Buffalo, though. that was a shot out of left field, in my eyes. I thought if anybody picked him up, it would have been 3rd, maybe 4th round, not 1st round. Where Matt Barkley fell to surprised me. I actually thought someone would have taken him in the 1st round, even though he didn't deserve it. Remember, this is a kid that was projected number 1 pick overall before the college football season started. He was the number 1 pick overall on the number 1 football team in America. Preseason. My, how bad did they fall. And I loved every second of it. I hate USC. I do. I won't lie about that. I hate them. They are so smug and arrogant and overrated. Oh my God, are they overrated. Just look at Carson. Carson Palmer is probably the only good person to come out of USC, and that's saying a lot. He had, maybe 2 or 3 good years in Cincinnati because of the weapons he had around him. You take a look at Matt Leinart. Fail. John David Booty. Where did he go? Mark Sanchez. Don't even get me started on him. Matt Castle. Decent for a year because he had the Patriots offense. Other than that, horrible. Other than Castle and Palmer for a year or 2 apiece, horrible. So why would Matt Barkley be any different? Philadelphia's taking a chance on him. Philadelphia has Vic, and they have the kid out of Arizona, Bowles. I don't see Barkley fitting in there. I don't. I think he'll be riding the pine the whole year. I think he'll be the 3rd string. Sorry, Nick Foles. Sorry, not Bowles. Foles. Nick Foles. Foles will be the backup. Vic will be in when Vic gets hurt, because it's bound to happen. Vic always seems to get hurt. I don't like it either. I like Vic. I think he has made up for his mistake. He served his time. We should move on from that. But he is injury prone. He always was, even before that happened. But Barkley going to Philly. I don't even know if I should talk about anything else in the draft right now, because Geno Smith going to the Jets. I expected it. I picked that. I actually had him going number 13 to the Jets. Sorry, I had him going number 9 to the Jets. I had number 13 being a linebacker. I got the pick right. He went to the Jets in the second round. But you knew the writing was on the wall for somebody to be released. Either Sanchez or Tebow. It ended up being Tebow, of course, on Monday. I'll get to that here in a second. But the Jets, if any GM out there, if anyone wants to be a GM out there, if anyone has any inkling to be in the front office of an NFL team, or even an NBA, MLB, or an NHL team, if anybody has any desire whatsoever to lead a team, make decisions for a team, look at the New York Jets, and you will see what not to do. My God, are they awful. It's laughable how much they have wasted. Just in this offseason. They let Darrelle Revis go for next to nothing. They traded last year for Timmy and didn't use him. They used him, I think it was said 7% of the Jets' offensive plays. And most of those were wildcat formations where he ran. I think he threw 8 passes all year last year. Tim Tebow, if you want to go back and listen to my other podcast, you'll know my feelings on Tim Tebow if you've listened up to this point. That's why I'm saying Here I Go Again by Whitesnake. That was a perfect song for this segment, because I'm going to go off on a rant again. I can't help it. I'm not even the biggest Tebow fan. I'm not. I hated him in Florida. I hate Florida. But I recognize his talent. He has raw talent that can be used, that can be molded into a great quarterback. I was mentioning this with one of my friends the other day. Denver made a huge mistake by letting Tebow go. Especially knowing you had even an inkling of a shot at Peyton Manning. Why not let Tebow sit behind Manning? Why not let Tebow sit behind somebody? Somebody good, I mean. I'm not talking about let him go to Arizona and sit behind Carson Palmer, let him go to Jacksonville, let him sit behind Blaine Gabbert. I'm not talking that. I'm talking let him sit behind a Tom Brady, a Peyton Manning. I mean, hell, I would love to see the Patriots pick up Tebow just to do that. It's not going to happen, but I would love to see it. No, what I think Timmy Tebow should do, and I think I heard somebody on ESPN saying this yesterday too, and I agree with it. He needs to go to Canada. He needs to go to the CFL. I've heard Montreal has already extended an offer, or at least shown interest, if not extended an offer. But let hone your game up there. Learn. Showcase what you got. Show these teams down here what they're passing up on. Because no one down here is going to give you that chance to shine, to go out there and showcase what you have. And I think part of that is they don't want the attention that he brings. They don't want the little media circus that's going to follow him, because there is going to be one, no matter where he goes. Even if he goes up there. No one down here seems to want that. But no one... This is my personal take on it. I think teams are scared to let him show what he has, because they really don't want to take a chance on him. They don't want to lock him up as... They don't view him as a long-term quarterback solution, no matter what his talent is. And I think they're scared to let the other teams see what he has, because when free agency comes around, he'll go sign with someone who actually wants to use him and make him a franchise quarterback. That's my take on it. That's my feelings. Whether that's true or not, speculation. That's the way I feel about it. But if he goes to Canada, showcases his skills, somebody down here who needs a quarterback, looks up there and goes, hey, why did we pass on this guy? What were we thinking? Yeah, we're signing you. It's going to happen. If he goes to Canada, it's going to happen. And I think that's his best option right now. Look at what Doug Flutie, Kurt Warner, Tommy Maddox, they all had second chances in their careers after going off to other leagues. CFL, Arena, XFL, even though it was only one season. Hell, I remember Jim Druckenmiller was a nobody in the NFL, went to the XFL, played the season there. I think it was for the Birmingham Bolts, if I remember right. Was a backup in San Francisco. Actually started a couple games for San Francisco before they got Alex Smith. I mean, going to the CFL, going to Arena, they're not death sentences for your career. I mean, they can help you right now. And I think that's the best chance for Tim Tebow. But the Tebow-less Jets have a lot more to worry about than not using Tebow right anymore. They have 5 quarterbacks. Yeah, you heard me. They have 5 quarterbacks on the roster right now. Mark Sanchez, Greg McElroy, well, I get his name right, Billy Sims, Geno Smith. Hang on. Billy Sims, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez. There's another one in there somewhere. I forget who. Jets GM came out today and said that all 5 quarterbacks will vie for the starting job. If I'm Mark Sanchez, I would just ask for my release right now. Because there's no way you're starting over Geno Smith. I'm sorry, you're not. They took him in the second round. They all but said, you're our guy at this point. They have. Especially making a statement like that. Sanchez, your job is not safe. It's nowhere near safe. It's time to go. The only thing is, it's going to cost the Jets a ton of money to let him go. I don't think they're going to want to do that. So they'll just pay him millions of dollars just to sit on the bench. Kind of like what they did to Tebow last year. But yeah, Jets are in real trouble. Like I said, if you want to be a GM, go look at the Jets. That's what not to do. Yeah, take another quick break here. When we come back, we'll talk a little NHL playoff hockey. NASCAR is back in Talladega this weekend. Let you know how things went in Richmond over the last weekend. And was going to give you some baseball score updates, but there's no games in progress, so I will not do that. This is the Center Sports Show here on Spreaker.com. Welcome back into the Sanders Sports Show. Once again, you can find me on Facebook, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Also over on Twitter @Sand Sports Show. Also, you can leave me messages here on the Spreaker.com webpage under each episode. Just click on comment, leave me your comments. I will answer all of you. Once again, the question of the day, if your favorite player of all time, I'm talking superstar status, A-Rod, Kobe Bryant, Peyton Manning, somewhere along those lines, came out and said that they were gay, would you change your opinion about them? Well, speaking of basketball, there was a little bit more basketball that I need to address, and one of my friends over at Analyze This is not going to like this segment, I can already tell, but yes, the Lakers got swept. Yes, I predicted that. Yes, I was a game off because I thought it was a best-of-5 series. That's my bad. But they still got swept. I still call it a sweep. Can you imagine this. If the Lakers would have just stayed in the 8th seed and they went up against the Thunder without Russell Westbrook, would it have been the same outcome? Could the Lakers have taken a game or two? You got to think about that. Spurs wrapped it up the other night, 103-82 over the Lakers. I think they won each game by double digits, if I remember right, too. That's just absurd. Staples Center looked mighty empty by the fourth quarter. They did. Dwight Howard gets ejected after getting teed up twice. Once for elbowing somebody, second time for arguing with the refs. You're down Kobe Bryant, you're down Steve Nash, you're down half your roster. And you're going to sit there and argue with a referee? You don't deserve to be on that team. You just showed what you care about by doing that. You really did. My opinion, I think that was the last time we'll see Dwight Howard in a Lakers uniform. I don't see him coming back at all. I think I said it when my podcast started, that whole trade was a huge mistake anyways. It was. It truly was a huge mistake. You trade for someone who's on their contract year without a guarantee that he'll re-up. And then you give away one of your young stars. Yeah, he was hurt. Yeah, he might not have been living up to the expectations that you set on him, but he was still a damn good player. Yeah, he has temper problems, but he was young. He could mature out of those. You have Dwight Howard, who's, 7th, 8th year in the league now? Still a whiny little brat, and he is. Can't sugarcoat that at all. If he doesn't get his way, he whines about it. And then he'll come back and apologize, everything's good. No, it's not everything's good. The only smart move, in my eyes, the only smart move I see the Lakers having here, sign and trade. I don't know if Minnesota's actually wanting to give up Kevin Love. If I was them, I wouldn't. But at least throw the offer out there. Sign Dwight Howard. Say, if we sign Dwight Howard to a contract that you come up with, and then we trade him to you for Kevin Love, would they be up for it? Because really, Kevin Love in that kind of an offense would thrive. That would put the Lakers over the top. Put Love, Gasol, Kobe once he's back healthy, if he comes back. Nash, if he comes back. Meta's gone. I think Meta's gone. Big time. Really, Lakers need another big man who's actually going to be there. Who's actually going to be there both physically and mentally. Right now, Dwight Howard, he said something to Lakers GM Kupchak when he walked off. No one knows what he said, but it didn't look good. If I'm Kupchak, I wouldn't even consider re-signing him unless it was just to deal him. Cut your losses and run. See what else is out there. I don't even think Dwight wants to be in LA anymore, especially after this season. He's not used to that kind of pressure. In Orlando, he didn't have this pressure on him. He didn't. Orlando's nobody compared to the Lakers. Lakers, you're in the spotlight. You are the team. You are in the marquee. Orlando, you're not. Dwight wasn't ready. He's still not going to be ready. I don't think he'll ever be ready for that kind of a spotlight. Lakers weren't the only ones getting swept, though. Milwaukee Bucks, everyone expected that. I thought they might have had a chance at a game, but nah. They got swept. A couple really good series going on, though, that over in the East, the Atlanta-Indy series and the Brooklyn-Chicago series. I mean, I watched a little bit of the Brooklyn-Chicago game last night. That was a good game. Chicago leads 3-2 in that one. Atlanta-Indiana tied 2-2. Might want to go back and listen to my show from a couple weeks ago because you would have heard it here first. Warriors beating the Nuggets, upsetting the Nuggets. Steph Curry is not a human. He's not. He showed that the last 2 or 3 games. He is not a human being. If he is, I don't know what kind of human being he really is. But he has just gone off. Golden State leads that series 3-1. They continue tonight on TNT, 8 p.m. Eastern. Also tonight, the Clippers and the Grizzlies over on TNT also at 10:30 Eastern. You know, the winner of that faces the Spurs, and if it's the Clippers, imagine this scenario: if the Clippers win, they beat Memphis. If they win that series out, and then they go on to face San Antonio, and they beat San Antonio, who just swept the Lakers. Clippers fans everywhere will never let the Lakers live that down. Lakers fans live that down, ever. I want to see it myself. I would love to see that. Then the other game over in the West, the Houston Rockets against the former Seattle Sonics. Like I said, I took a little bit of personal joy in that last night, seeing Ibaka miss that last-second shot, as I know many people did up here in Seattle. Because that would have been the third sweep of this playoffs. Love to see the Rockets come back. I would love to see it. It won't happen, sadly. I think I had them going 3-1, 4-1 now that I know it's a 7-game series. I thought it was a 5. But Houston got their win, so I'll be close enough to happy. Then the other series, Boston and New York. Everyone had Boston written off. New York was without J.R. Smith on Sunday, and Boston showed up. I mean, it took overtime, but they beat them. I don't think that's going to happen again. I think New York will finish off the series tomorrow night. A couple other news and notes around the NBA. The Raptors. Oh, my Raptors. Oh, my God. They want Phil Jackson as the president of the team. I say put him as a coach. If he wants to do that. I mean, I said last week, if there's one reason Phil Jackson would have went to Cleveland, and that would have been because of a challenge, to take a team with nobody and try and turn them into a championship caliber team. He could do the same with the Raptors. I mean, they got Rudy Gay in a trade at the trade deadline. They have some decent young talent. Get rid of Bergiani, I think they'll be in a step in the right direction that way. But to have him as your president, I mean, I know Pat Riley is a decent president down in Miami. I would love to say Phil Jackson would be the same, but there's just no guarantees. I mean, look at Jordan. Jordan's a brilliant basketball mind, playing-wise. President-wise, GM-wise, not so much. The Raptors intensified their talks about going after Phil Jackson for the president of the team position after the Sacramento Kings decision came down yesterday, because Jackson was pegged as a possible president for the Sonics once they returned. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just saying if he's going to be a president, why not let him coach as well? Let him whip that team into shape. They have a chance. Speaking of playoffs, we are in the second best time of the year behind March Madness when it comes to playoffs. Hockey. I cannot wait. My Ducks 2 seed, wearing my Ducks jersey tonight. They take on the Red Wings tonight, 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Don't know if it's going to be televised or not. I would love it to be. So I actually want to see that game. We need to beat the Red Wings. Other games kicking off tonight. It's all West Coast games. It's all Western Conference games tonight, it seems like. Oh, actually, the Anaheim game will be on NBC Sportsnet as the second game on that channel. First game will be Minnesota and Chicago, the 1 and the 8 seed. And over on CNBC, they are actually picking up some games. Good to see that. Los Angeles taking on St. Louis in the, I believe it's 3-6 game. Those all start tonight. Cannot wait. Of course, I'm going to say Ducks are going to win it all. But since I'm going to have to give my predictions, I'm sure there's some hockey fans out there. So let's see here. We got the Blues and the Kings. I'd love to see the Stanley Cup champions at least make it past round 1. I don't think it'll happen, though, with how much they struggled throughout the season. They're like hot or cold. If they're cold, they're going to lose bad. So yeah, I'm going to take St. Louis in that one. St. Louis seems to be just on fire this year. Pittsburgh and the Islanders. Yeah, Pittsburgh. If the Islanders win one game in this series, then Pittsburgh is a joke to me. Canadians and the Senators. That's anytime any of these teams are involved, Canadians, Maple Leafs, Senators, it's always a good game. And it's going to be a hell of a series. I'm going to go Montreal, though, in 6. Montreal wins 4-2. Got the Caps and the Rangers. A lot of people had the Rangers as their Stanley Cup champions early. I mean, before the season even started. I think they'll beat the Capitals. I don't know how much farther they'll make it beyond that, but I think they will beat the Capitals 4-1. The Bruins and the Maple Leafs. I lived in Toronto for 2 years. One of my ex-girlfriends is a die-hard Maple Leafs fan. I love you. I always love my friend. I'm sorry. Boston's taking this one. Boston in 6, 4-2. Chicago, Minnesota. I actually think Minnesota will take a game or two here against Chicago. They won't win, but I think they'll take... I'm going to give them 2 games. Chicago wins in 6. Ducks and the Wings. Ducks win in 5. Wings aren't anything special this year. And finally, the Canucks and the Sharks. I don't want to face the Canucks in the playoffs. I'm going to go Sharks in 5. 4-1. Those are my NHL playoff predictions. See how well they come to fruition. Yeah, talk a little NASCAR here real quick before we let you go for the day. Going to go on a limb and say that Denny Hamlin won't be cleared again this week. He wasn't cleared this past week like he was hoping for his hometown race in Richmond, which was won by Kevin Harvick in a very good race. Feel bad for Juan Pablo Montoya, though. I mean, he had that race wrapped up, and then caution, very late caution. Yeah, he was... Juan Pablo was just in a bad place, wrong place at the wrong time. I think if he would have stayed out instead of taking tires, though, I think he could have held him off. But I don't think he wanted to take the chance to get run over, and that was a smart thing to do there. Harvick almost did the sweep. Fell short, though, to Brad Keselowski in the Nationwide race on Friday night. After that race, though, is when the fireworks started. As a on-track disagreement, we'll call it, between Nelson Piquet Jr. and Brian Scott spilled over into the pits. Actually ended up having 2 of Brian Scott's crew members arrested, and Brian Scott needing some ice for his down there area, as Nelson Piquet actually low-blowed him. Well, I've never seen that in NASCAR. I've never seen anybody kick somebody below the belt, literally, like that. I've seen drop kicks into car windshields. Never seen a low blow in NASCAR. That was a first for me. Really quick notes here. They are at Talladega this weekend. Nationwide Series race at 12:30 Eastern on ESPN. And then, of course, the Sprint Cup race on Sunday, 12 p.m. Eastern coverage starts. Green flag probably a little after 1 p.m. They said Denny Hamlin is hoping to at least start in the race. Because if you start in the race and then have to have a substitute driver come in, you still get the points. He's trying to get points going. He says he is planning to start, get those points. I don't know how long he'll last in there. My opinion, this past week, Richmond, if he was cleared, would have been a better race to do that in. Because Talladega, I'm sure there's plenty of NASCAR fans out there who know about this, but Talladega, if you don't watch NASCAR, anything could happen. On lap 1, they could all be in the fence. That's how unpredictable Talladega is. I mean, Talladega is so unpredictable. I remember this. It was Mark Martin driving the Viagra car, the number 6 car, on the warm-up lap. Somehow crashed into Jimmy Johnson, who was on the pole. And Mark was on the outside. I don't know if anyone else remembers that. I do. That's how unpredictable Talladega is. So that just epitomized that stigma on Talladega right there. But it would be great to see him back. I don't think it would be smart if he's not ready yet, though. Just want him to be safe. Don't want to see him have to retire early or get paralyzed. Anything bad happening. So Good luck to Denny Hamlin on that. And on that note, nothing else going on in the sports world. I said, hit me up on Facebook, facebook.com/Sanders Sports Show. Right here on the Spreaker webpage, you can leave me messages on each show. Also, over on Twitter, @Sand Sports Show, all one word. Also, check us out on iTunes. We are on iTunes. Subscribe to the podcast, and you get every show downloaded right as it comes out. It is Tuesday. Once again, don't know what the guys over at Finalize This. I think they changed their schedule again. Once I get that, I will pass that along to you guys if you guys listen to them. But go check out their Facebook page anyways. They'll probably have a lot more information than I will at this point. Facebook.com/Finalize This. Also subscribe to their channel here on Spreaker.com. Just search for Finalize This. Also, I am starting a new podcast every Thursday. It will not be a live one. It will be a recorded one. I'll probably record it in the morning on Thursdays. It'll be up over on aircheck.us on a channel called the Dirty South Network. Go check them out. They have a lot of cool stuff. A lot of top 10s, some really good music, really good shows. It's ever growing, so any more information you want on them, go check out their Facebook page also. Just search for Dirty South Network. Now, I'll wrap it up for today. If there's anything else you want to hear about this, I would love to do some top 10 lists myself. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know what you think about the topic of the day. If your favorite megastar, superstar athlete came out and said he was gay, would that change your opinion on it? Leave me feedback over on the Facebook page, Twitter, and here on Spreaker.com. And until Thursday, go check out the Dirty South Network. See what they have. See if there's anything you like over there. I'm sure there will be. And check me out over there as well. Until Thursday, have a great next couple days. And, of course, as always, be good humans. Bye-bye.